What's up, y'all? It's your girl, Cornelia, back with another episode of Black News, a podcast where we break down current events, hot topics, and local stories involving Black people. Now let's get into it. Y'all, Jim Crow's back. Yeah. Jim Crow's back. Hey guys, are we gonna welcome Jim Crow back with open arms? Hey guys, everybody, everybody come gather around. Look who's back. Hey everybody, oh my God, guys, look who's back. It's Jim Crow. His ass is back. Look, his motherfucking ass is right back. Look everybody, look who it is. Jim Crow is here. Jim Crow is here. The Supreme Court said Jim Crow is here to stay. Jim Crow has reared his ugly head. It is crazy to think. And somebody was on social media posting this, and I'm going to get to the point in just a second, but I got to say this because I just thought of it. Somebody posted on social media that they didn't think it would be this easy to dismantle civil rights in America. They thought it would at least take a couple years to undo everything that's been done. And when I say civil rights, y'all, it's only been 60-some years since people, and I do air quotes, have been given equal rights. But it has literally taken only 9 months to completely undo things. We back in Jim Crow, and I say that because the Supreme Court today, and I'm gonna read the article. This is BBC, because hey, BBC, at least they still reporting stuff because everybody else they done gave in to the fascism. BBC. Per BBC, the Supreme Court has ruled sweeping immigration raids in Los Angeles can continue for now, lifting a federal judge's order that had barred agents from making stops without reasonable suspicion. The Monday ruling is a win for y'all's boy, who has vowed to conduct record-level deportations of migrants in the country illegally. Now, let's be clear. They are not just deporting migrants. They are deporting anybody who they feel like it. That has been proven. That is a fact. The article continues on. The 6-3 decision of the conservative majority court allows agents to stop suspects based solely on their race, language, or job, while a legal challenge to the recent immigration sweeps in LA works its way through the courts. The liberal justice dissented, saying that the decision puts constitutional freedoms at risk. Let me go back and read that one more time. It says that they can now scoop people up based on race, language, or job. So if you look Hispanic, if you sound Hispanic, if you have what people would deem a Hispanic job, and I'm doing air quotes because people have a concept of what all of those things look like based on their own biases and their own perception. So if somebody walking down the street and they say, hey, that guy looks illegal. Is he illegal? Who cares? He sounds like he's illegal. They can now arrest you, detain you, and deport you. And I say jump to immediate deportation because we have already seen people are not giving trials. They are not getting due process. People are being held in prisons in very harsh conditions, and they are being sent to countries that they are not even from. People are being abused. Kids are being separated. The Supreme Court just ruled if you look and sound like you could possibly be illegal, they have the right to now scoop you up. Do y'all know what that means? And I'm going to tell you why this is bad for everybody. One, if anybody in this country is being harmed, then we all gonna get harmed. That's just the reality. But now what this does is opens up the door to now say, to misinterpret. Because what they can do now is to start to stop and arrest people who are not, air quote, illegal looking, under the guise of they could be illegal. You know why? Because there are Black people from, quote, air quote, Black countries who could be here illegally. So now as a Black person walking down the street, You could be stopped, illegally detained, put in a detention center, and shipped off somewhere because you look like you could be from Haiti or Nigeria or Jamaica or South America or Guatemala or anywhere. Do y'all see what the y'all? I'm so deeply, I'm so troubled. I'm so troubled. I don't want to live in a fascist country. Y'all, I don't want to deal with this shit. I'm so troubled. I know black people resting, and I told y'all this before. I really feel like our spirits are telling us what to do and when to move and what to do, but that doesn't negate a feeling of distress. I feel so I feel such a level of distress. I can't believe y'all let this happen. I can believe it, and I'm not shocked. I'm just mad that we got to be the ones dealing with this. I can't believe all y'all had to do. And I'm going to take it back even further. All y'all had to do was vote for Hillary. That's all y'all had to do. I can't believe this is happening. I can't believe it. I cannot believe it. If you would have told me in the mid to late 1990s, when I had my high school history classes, and we were going through had my humanities classes, and we were talking about history, world history, American history, and going through and different types of people and leaders, and then moving on to college. And when I was in history classes at college, black history, all of this stuff, if you would have told me that in 2025 we would be on the brink of something like this, I would not have believed you. I cannot believe it while simultaneously being able to believe it. And it's just a perfect example of how everything is a domino effect. It's a domino effect. A lot of people are saying, and I mean, I can see the points of this. This could have been avoided if, as far back as right after the Civil War, Confederacy were punished. That's how far back actions should have been taken to avoid us getting here, which is a damn shame. Because what's that, in the 1860s? Y'all, I can't believe it. I'm so distressed. I'm so stressed out. Every day I look at the news and I'm like, yo, like, how did we get here and what do we do? But I'm gonna tell you what's gonna happen now. And I pray it ain't me. And I know. Listen, everybody talk about what they would and wouldn't do, and if something happened to you, y'all, what would you do if ICE rolled up on you and you don't even know if it's ICE because they don't even have to identify themselves? A masked person rolled up on you, grabbed you up, handcuffed you, and threw you in the back of a van and shipped you off to some unknown country. You can't use the phone. Some people have resources and they could get some lawyers to kind of get on the job. That don't mean that they're gonna send you back, because you saw what they did with old boy who they sent to Guatemala. They about to send him to Africa. He ain't even African. But what would you do? Like, you can't even get on the phone and call your family and be like, help, I am detained. They trying to send me out of the country. Get my passport. Y'all, they don't care. This is insane. This is something we've never seen. And we in this together, baby. This is James Crow is back. And it doesn't feel good. It does not feel good. And I know it's not nothing to compare this to. I know it's not the same. But I think we starting to at least feel maybe 5 to 10% of what our grandparents and great grandparents went through during Jim Crow. And I say 5 to 10% because we are not at the point where we have are seeing lynchings all across the country. Like, there's certain things that we just ain't seeing yet. But this level of anxiety, I can't imagine how they was walking around dealing with this. I can't imagine. And you'll never hear me say I ain't my ancestors. Yeah, damn, you're right. Because they was out here living it. We out here on the internet. Y'all, I can't. What do y'all think, though? Child, I could go on and on, but what do y'all think about this? Are you as stressed as me? Because I'm just worn out. What do you think? Let me know. And what y'all think this means for all people of color moving forward. And also let me point out, because I forgot to mention this, and this is very important because people have been saying this all day, and it is so true. It's so crazy how the Supreme Court ruled that they can now arrest and detain you based on race, that should be considered a factor, while also saying race should not be a factor when it comes to education and admissions. We can use race when it's time to lock your ass up, but not when it's time to give you an education, allow you to receive an education. No. That's where we draw the line. Yeah, that's where we are. Let me know your thoughts though. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. Another thing that's simultaneously happening is that there is becoming a war on American cities. And I'm saying war because it is being positioned as if there is an attack specifically so far on Los Angeles. We saw it in LA with the ICE raids, Baltimore, and Chicago. And what we're seeing now, and this is what I hope people continue to realize, especially when you elect leaders. And I don't think it's going to matter in the future because I told y'all ain't going to be no more fair elections if we have elections at all. But this is what the phrase wartime leadership means. And we are seeing that directly with Wes Moore, J.B. Pritzker. I can't pronounce the governor of, of Illinois name to save my life. Is it Pritzker? Pritzker. Child, y'all know what I'm saying. And Gavin Newsom. Those three have been holding the line, clapping back, and doing things that are putting their cities, states, and counties in position to at least attempt to fight everything that's going on. And I'm purposely shining a light right now on Governor Pritzker because of what's happening in Illinois and Chicago. There was a post over the weekend by y'all's boy with him in a dang cowboy or sheriff's hat or some stupid goofy outfit on. It was AI generated. AI's here. With in the background, a city on fire, the city of Chicago on fire and flames. And it says, I love the smell of deportations in the morning. Chicago is about to find out why it's called the Department of War. Y'all, they changed the Department of Offense's name to the Department of War. This, y'all, but J.B. Pritzker has basically said, you want to play? Okay, let's dance. He has lined up, basically barricaded the city, had the salt trucks lined up, had fenced off all of the courthouses. So if people are in trying to go to hearings regarding their citizenship, anything like that, the ICE can't get in. He has demanded that the police officers do not work in partnership with ICE or the federal government or the National Guard because they send the troops in. They even got the unions to line up cranes and trucks to block roadways so that there cannot be an infiltration into the city. Their governor is also on the news, specifically giving the blueprint of what he feels like is going to be happening with this upcoming election. This is wartime leadership. A lot of people just don't know how to react in certain situations. They just don't know what to do. We've never seen situations like this. This is an unprecedented time, and people are scared. People are scared because if this really what is shaping out to be, I'm sorry to say this, and it's going to be terrible. We might get to the point where elected officials start to, air quote, disappear. We saw that happened to two people in Minnesota, and it's people acting like nothing happened. But let me see if I can let me play some real quick of the governor of Illinois, what he had to say about what's going on specifically around elections. Okay. Just so y'all can see what I'm talking about and give you an idea of someone who is fearless and standing in the face of what is happening. Him, Wes Moore, and Gavin Newsom.
We know what it's about, and it has nothing to do with fighting crime. And it has, honestly, sending National Guard in has nothing to do with immigration either. What it has to do with is he's trying to set the stage for interference in the elections in 2026 and in 2028.
I know you've made that point before, and that made my ears perk up, and it should be alarming to anyone. What does that look like? Because it sounds like you're saying there's going to be military in the streets that are going to prevent people from participating in the elections. Is that it, or it's something else?
It could be that. It also could be claiming that there's something wrong with the election results or the counting of ballots, so they're going to take control of the ballot boxes. And why do I say this? I mean, why do I suspect that that's in fact what they're doing? Well, look at the history here. Donald Trump encouraged people to be part of a Stop the Steal movement in 2020. When he lost the election, he then went out and fomented engagement in this activity to deny the election, and then fomented the January 6th protesters to do what they did, which is attack the Capitol. And then he pardoned them after they were found to have committed criminal acts. And then let's fast forward to today's back in office, and he's talking about maybe people would like a dictatorship. He said that publicly. I mean, that's out loud. You can go look at it. What about his entreaty that, he believes he's just making things up in his head that there is fraud going on that has helped to elect people to office. They just recently asked for all of the records of people who voted in Illinois. They want all of the records. Imagine all your private information if you're an Illinois resident who is registered to vote. And they're going to find your home address, perhaps your phone number, your registration, or how you voted last time. This is all what's being requested by the Department of Justice. Think about all those things together. What is the purpose of all of that, if not to focus on interfering with the 2026 elections, which clearly he knows he's going to lose? How do we know that? Because now he's asking states to do a mid-decade redistricting. He went to Texas to try to get them to do it. They've now done it. Now he's going to Missouri and Indiana and other states to get them to do it. And, we have to stand up and make sure that we're focusing on what the real aims are, and that is to thwart the elections, to give him more power. It's a pretense.
Listening to that again, I hope I get to a place where I can reshift my perspective on this. Because hearing what he said, y'all, maybe it is. Yes, everything is bad. And this is going to be some shit this is going to be something that our generation has never seen or had to deal with in real time. But maybe it is, I won't say a duty, but we are literally, this is going to be the fight of our lives. Like, we literally about to be in the fight of our life. Like, people, we always say, thank God for my ancestors. They did all of this. They had to do all of this. Baby, it's us. We got to save the day. Like, y'all, God. We going to have to say today. I don't know how we going to say today, but we going to have to say today. That's just it. I don't know how, but elections being stolen, Supreme Court ain't doing what they need to do. People can get picked up off the street. They building concentration camps, extra prisons that's going to turn into concentration camps. People getting deported, shipped out the country. Prices going up. You can't afford nothing. People losing jobs. Black unemployment is at a high, all-time high. People going to start losing their homes. You name it, it's happening. We just have the honor, and I'm doing air quotes, is the honor of being the generations that are in the fight of our lives. But I will say, I really appreciate what those 3 governors I mentioned are doing. I hope other people take notice. I can understand why they don't join in. It's very fearful. I know they've been getting threatened out the ass. So it's bravery on 100,000. It may not seem like it from the outside looking in, but it actually is. So yeah, I just wanted to play that because, I love Chicago. Chicago is a cool city. If it wasn't so cold in the wintertime, I would be actively considering moving there. Y'all know I got one foot out the door on the West Coast. One thing that's definitely keeping me here, though, is leadership. But I ain't sleeping on that because the state of California is almost halfway red. Don't That's the facts. But I love me Chicago, and Chicago people some of the coolest people that I know. So I'm standing with y'all. Okay. I'm standing with, as a Midwesterner at heart, I stand with the city of Chicago. Let me know your thoughts about it though. If you are in Chicago, what's the tone? What's the vibe? What's going on in the streets? Reach out to me. Let me know. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. So last week on here, if y'all remember, I talked about a trend that was going viral on social media, specifically TikTok, that was called the Great Lock-In, where people were setting specific goals and planning to successfully fulfill those goals, accomplish those goals between the months of September and December. This last stretch of the year, this last quarter, people were going to lock in and do whatever it takes to accomplish those, right? On here, I gave some examples about how I got a couple ideas that I could lock in on. One being the idea around helping creators find or build resumes, profiles that can help them get jobs. Because as an entertainer, especially in LA, and it's easing up a little bit now, but for a very, 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 very long time, people would either be shamed to when they had jobs, feel like they couldn't get jobs, didn't have the skills to get jobs, the tools to be able to know where to start, or they just flat out don't want to work. They feel like they selling out. The man, I'm an artist, I can't work for the man. God be talking to me because right when I was saying that on Black News, a conversation started on social media, and it was started with Tabitha Brown, who made a post and said something to the effect of, entrepreneurs, you need to get a job. If you draining your family, your bank account, it's time you can set that entrepreneurship goal. You can set it down for a minute, or you can do get a job on alongside of this, right? She posted it. I didn't see nothing wrong. I was like, hell yeah, you're right, Tabitha. To the point where I responded. This was my response to that original post. I I said, also, creatives and entrepreneurs, do not be ashamed or discouraged from getting a job. You can be creative, work on your craft, pursue your dreams, etc., and work at the same time. I know this because I've done it. Tabitha Brown also knows this because she's done it. She's built her career, is very successful now, but she's built her career on people knowing that she was driving Uber, working random odd jobs, doing all of the things while she was pursuing her entertainment career. She got famous randomly from going viral after she's been on social media and doing all the things for years. Well, baby, that people got mad at that post. People was mad, not at my post, but Tabitha Brown's post. People were upset. People were angry and upset. I saw comments ranging from, this is an attack. Black women are unemployed. We do want to get jobs, and we're trying, and this is insensitive. It's tone deaf. I'm talking about people were pissed. And again, I was like, oh, what's going on? Okay. I'm just a spectator, but what's going on? She then posted another video, and I'm going to play that second video for y'all. Because again, to the point where she had to make multiple videos about this. I'm going to play them because I got some thoughts on it, about what happened, what the breakdown was, and also not even just the breakdown, what she was trying to say. If you heard all this, bear with me. So this is the second post where the next morning.
Hello there, honey. Y'all all right? So listen real quick. Last night I did a video and I was talking to my entrepreneurial spirits and my entrepreneurs. Okay. And the word was, honey, it's time to get a little job. Okay. Because you ain't got no income coming in. And some folks got upset about that. But let's talk about it. All right. First and foremost, I ain't never gonna tell somebody to give up on their dreams. Never. For the last 8 years, I have publicly shared my journey that I worked while I waited. Right? You can have a dream, you can have a goal, you can have a vision that God has given you, and you can still have a job while pursuing it. Do you understand? See, I'm talking to the people who burnt all their bridges up. Baby, you have burnt all your bridges because you refuse to get a little side hustle or a job to have income coming in while pursuing your passion and your dream. I'm not talking about the people who are trying to get jobs. I'm not talking about the people who you do have a little, job and things are still hard. I'm not talking about you. I'm talking about the people who are just like, I ain't gonna get no job. I'm gonna just ask such and such for the money, or I'm gonna do this and this to get the money instead of trying to literally work while pursuing. Do you understand? I'm talking to the people who just have decided that working is beneath them. That's who I'm talking to. Okay? You know who you are. I'm not talking to the people who, like, Tab, I didn't try to get a job. Baby, the key word is tried. I'm talking to the people who ain't trying. They know who they are. And you know who they are. Okay? We can still pursue our passion and our dreams while working a temporary job that will help us get there. But what we shouldn't do is hurt our family, our friends. We shouldn't burn all our bridges and relationships because we believe so wholeheartedly that that work is beneath us because we have this vision. Baby, we all got good vision.
Now, I'm not going to play the rest because she was basically saying the same thing in different ways and just reiterating that. Now, I watched this and I still was like, yeah. And I agreed because as an entertainer, and when I heard this, I immediately knew who she's talking about. I have worked with and collaborated with people who moved out to LA or moved to New York, but specifically LA to pursue acting, hosting, comedy, dance, whatever the case may be, and felt like they could not and did not want to work while simultaneously pursuing those dreams. Now, that can work for some, but for the majority, and I would say a large percent of the Black people that I know who've tried to do that, they have spent a significant amount of time in poverty. And I'm not exaggerating when I say poverty. I'm talking about couch surfing, sleeping in cars and showering at the gym, bumming rides. There used to be an open mic spot where the owner turned into like some office rooms into bedrooms. People was renting those rooms out because it was so cheap and they didn't have jobs and didn't want to get jobs. I've known some of my peers who were sleeping with certain women and in relationships with them, not because they genuinely loved and cared for them. No, because they didn't have nowhere to live. And guys, I'm like, so when she was saying, I was like, I know exactly who she's talking about. People was chiming in, acting like Tabitha Brown is the Department of Labor. We just got laid off and we ain't got no jobs. We trying. She not talking to them. And so then I responded with my own testimony because I want to make people feel like things are possible for them through example. I've lived this. A lot of people listening to Black News probably know that, but this is what I said and offer some context. I reposted and I said this. I've hosted top rated podcasts and after shows, booked over a dozen national commercials, been on stage damn near every night, auditioned, been on TV, wrote and researched for an award nominated podcast, and got tapped to be a news anchor, all while working a job. All of that stuff that I've done, everything y'all seen me in, some people ain't seen me in nothing because you are probably getting to me late when I cooled off a little bit with the hustle of entertainment. I did all that while I was working a 9 to 5. All of it. I did all of it. I hosted a radio show. I would drive to work across in Santa Monica Some have to leave work in Santa Monica to go to an audition in Hollywood, to use that as my lunch break. If y'all know Santa Monica to Hollywood, that's a hell of a drive. Drive back to Santa Monica to continue to work. Then after work, leave to go shoot a podcast, leave to go get on stage and do a show, leave to do an after show, leave to host a radio show where I was interviewing the likes of Layla Ali, Tevin Campbell, Bill Bellamy, you name it, all while working a job. So her saying that personally touched me because I've lived it. I am a testament. That's the case. She then had to make additional posts because people were literally angry and upset. This was going on for days, y'all. This was the next post that she made. And I'm playing these because I'm going to give y'all my overall point, but I want to give you all of the context to see how far it had gotten with this.
Hello there. Honey, y'all all right? Baby, the way y'all have cut up on this day, okay? Listen, honey, I done set some folk off on today. And let's start with, honey, I said what I said, and I have said it for the last 8 years. My journey is I worked while I pursued my dreams. I had all kind of odd jobs. I still am a firm believer that you can work a job while you're pursuing your dreams, while you're pursuing your business, whatever your entrepreneurship goals are. I still believe that. That is what I said. I'm not going to change it, right? You may not agree with that. And that's okay. That's your business. But what I'm saying is there are folk out here hurting themselves and others because they refuse to go get a little job. They refuse to. Those are the people I'm talking to. I don't agree with that. But yes, we all know that there's some hard times going on. I'm not talking to the people who are trying. I'm specifically talking to, like I said in both my videos, entrepreneurs with that spirit that a job is beneath them and they don't want to do nothing else other than that. But no money is coming in and they need it. Nothing is wrong with having a temporary job while you pursue your dream. Is y'all crazy to think that I would talk about people who are trying? Now, y'all know better than that. Now, listen, if you don't like Tab, baby, everybody ain't gonna like Tab. You can just not like me. But making up stuff, just being mad for no real reason, you just don't like me, baby, and that's all right. You can just not like me. But what I have said is nothing new. I've said it for years. As I've shared.
Okay, so y'all get the point of that. And I'm going to start with her last point and then go back. The unfortunate thing and result of all of this is what we now recognize has happened. And it happens to a lot of Black people who are celebrities, influencers, or in the public space. Regardless of how you feel about Tabitha Brown, whether you like her or not, because some people use this opportunity to voice their concerns. That's what always happens, right? When stuff hit the fan, people come out the woodwork. I told you I ain't never liked her in the first place. I knew it was something about her. She thinks she all that, blah, blah, blah. Of course that happened. But this is the perfect example of what we often see is when Black people get too rich or too much fame or celebrity, people turn on them. It happens in the Black community all the time. I can't speak on if it happens in other communities because I'm not a part of those communities. I'm only speaking on the community that I'm a part of. And I see this. Once people deem you as too, when you're no longer accessible, they turn on you. It can be anything that triggered that. Child, I saw somebody post a comment talking about some Tabitha, she insensitive and she's flaunts her wealth in her videos and she knows we're struggling. Flaunt her wealth in the video? Like this, y'all, this is so when I saw the discourse, it kind of highlighted how a lot of people use When they see a window open, they take that window and they climb in it and use it as an opportunity to air out any other grievance that they have with somebody, even if it doesn't necessarily apply. Because I'm willing to bet that a lot of people who had negative reactions to this knew exactly what she was saying. They knew exactly what she was talking about. They knew exactly who the target demographic was. But because they had personal grievances, either about her or other things, they used it to be adjacent to the conversation and to just blow it up based on what it is that they want to get off their chest. Example, the job market is bad. Federal layoffs, we're the highest unemployment. You know this, and you telling us to try to get jobs. We've been trying to get jobs. You know good and well that wasn't who she was talking to. She had at this point 4 videos that told you exactly who she was talking to. And that comment, it just made me sad and disappointed because a lot of people, and not everybody, but were positioning that part of the discussion in a way that made me feel like they didn't want her encouraging other people to enter the job market because they were already in the job market and weren't having success. Meaning, I can't find a job. Don't tell nobody else to get jobs because then what? We really ain't gonna have no jobs. Baby, if the job for you, everybody resume ain't gonna adapt or attract every job. Just because the job market is bad does not mean that people should not try to get into the job market and get a job. Like, baby, everybody, we gotta work. Do not discourage people. So that part just disappointed me a bit. But also not throughout any of the conversation did I get the impression that she was trying to make people who were already struggling and looking for work feel bad. It kind of leaned into that if it don't apply, let it fly. But again, Tabitha Brown is now a part of that demographic that is in the I'ma turn on you demo, which is unfortunate. Child, they was also mad at her like she the Department of Labor. Tabitha Brown is not the Department of Labor. Like y'all, this just really shed some light on how you can be well intended, but if people don't like the messenger, they will disregard the message. And some people were analyzing this and saying that she is now at the place where she's too successful to be talking to tell people about how to get jobs, because a lot of the commentary was, why don't you create jobs, or why don't you give us jobs with your business? Who y'all think she is? Walmart? It's just really unfortunate. And I say that as I see the job market in real time every day. And my heart goes out to everybody looking for work, whether it's your main gig, side gig, whoever. If you're looking for work, get out there and look for it. Do not be discouraged. But specifically for the group that she's talking about, the entrepreneurs, the creatives, what I'm saying is directly targeted at you. Baby, it is okay to get a job while you pursue your career. You can do it at the same time. Trust me. It's not going to be easy. You're going to be stressed out and exhausted, but you got to decide what is a priority for you, and you got to go for it, especially if you gave up and sacrificed something for that. Because in order to make that big leap, baby, you gave up something. I'd have missed out on a lot. Weddings, baby showers, friend trips, family events, money, comfort. I done been poor more years as an adult than I have not been poor because I sacrificed. But guess what? I had me a job while I was doing all of that, and I listed off the accolades. That was just what I came up with off the top of my head, because it's a lot. So I don't want to hear when people say, I can't work, I'm pursuing my dreams. I don't want to hear it. I'm the last person people can talk to about that. I don't want to hear it. You can do it all at the same time. But let me know your thoughts about all of this. Where you stand on it? Do you understand what you're saying? Or do you have another perspective to offer up? Let me know. You can find me at Cornelia on social media. On this week's episode of Black News, we talked about the Supreme Court's decision to be able to allow ICE and other entities the ability to arrest and detain people based on visually identifying them by race. We also talked about governors in 3 states in particular, Maryland, Illinois, and California, taking a stand against authoritarian leadership. We also talked about a lot of discourse that was happening online around Tabitha Brown and people being upset that she suggested that entrepreneurs get jobs while pursuing their dreams if they need to. Hit me up. Let me know your thoughts about all these topics, some or none, and I'll check back with you guys next time. That's it for this week's episode of Black News, y'all. Thanks again for supporting the podcast by sharing, liking, subscribing, and rating 5 stars on your favorite podcast app. To find more information about me, you can check me out at Canelia on social media, as well as on my website, which is canelia.com. And as always, thanks for supporting, and I'll be back next week with new topics and a new episode.